Hello everyone and welcome to the latest in the series of podcasts with myself, Liam Carroll, a qualified financial consultant with SYS Wealth and Financial Planners. And the idea of these podcasts is to give valuable nuggets of information to people with some outstanding professionals, thus giving health to your wealth. Delighted to say that we're joined today by David O'Malley, and David is a Cappamore man and has a Bachelor in Engineering from NUI in Galway. He's been in a consulting engineering company in Patrickswell with Bill Hutch for over 10 years. And he provides engineering advice on asset purchases, planning, design and construction during the day, and creative cooking experiments, he says, in the evening time. So we'll go with that anyway. It's a first for us today, David. You're the first man we've done one of these with that's actually sitting outdoors. So,
Well, yeah, I suppose we're well used to working outside, Liam, so it's
yeah,
a bit chillier today, but we've been taking advantage over the last couple of weeks.
We should have done it last week, Dave, but anyway, it's been better for that. And first question, Dave, I think a question we've asked everyone really, from a personal point of view, how has the COVID-19 affected you?
Well, as you say, Liam, I suppose my parents are living out in Cappamore, and it has been quite difficult not being able to keep in touch and visit them on a regular basis, you know. And I suppose that's been a challenge, I think, for everyone really, to be able that you're not able to have that physical contact, and I suppose the person-to-person interaction with your family and with your friends, you know. I suppose professionally, I think you have the same challenges, you know. It's very difficult not being able to speak with your other co-workers and interact with people.
Yeah.
But I suppose we're fairly well set up on that side of things, that we're operating okay, you know.
And you would have always been a man I know you're good for years, and always a man ahead of the curve when it comes to technology as well, Dave. So you weren't, from that point of view, you adapted fairly quickly, I'd say.
Yeah, I suppose really because we do a mixture, I suppose, of office and site work, there would have always been an element of remote working, but obviously the last couple of weeks have been a bit more intense. We've had kind of fairly strong cloud infrastructure for about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And I suppose while we've seen kind of things evolve a little bit, we've always kind of kept up with the times, you know.
Yeah, no, it's very good. And for individuals, for people coming out of the COVID, from your professional experience, Dave, any nuggets of information you can give to those?
Well, I think we've all kind of learned a little bit about work-life balance during the period, and I don't think we should lose that really as we come back into work and we come back into normality, I suppose, and a new normality really. I definitely think it's very important, and has been very important in the last few weeks, to keep active and to get out and get your day's exercise, because even as things start to I suppose re-emerge, there will be still people working from home and, you know, commuting, and I suppose really getting those half an hour or an hour's stretching the legs is really important for not just physical health, but I think for mental health.
Yeah.
And I suppose one of the other things that I did find during the last couple of weeks, we did get into a habit in the office of having a daily meeting, and it's similar to this, I suppose, kind of a bit of a chat every day. And, you know, it's very important for people to keep in touch and keep, I suppose, relationships going, and keep a personal contact going with everyone, you know.
Yeah, very important, because you can get too used to the remote element of it and meet nobody nearly to a certain extent.
You can indeed, yeah.
A big part of it. And from your professional point of view, would you have any advice for companies coming out of the COVID, maybe with your background, that people could avail of?
Yeah, well, I suppose there's two elements to that. I think really, you know, companies need to look after their staff, and they need to look after their business, because definitely in our business, our staff are our business. You know, it's professional advice, so we rely on all our staff members. And I think really from a business point of view, it is going to be important for staff to monitor themselves, and for businesses to encourage that monitoring, because if any business does have a staff member who becomes sick, losing one staff member is one thing, but really you could lose a whole team or a whole company if you're not careful over the next couple of months. And I suppose on the broader side of things, listen, we worked through the last recession. I suppose there will be a slowdown, I imagine. There'll be a bit of a belt tightening. But I do see that there will also be opportunities for entrepreneurs and opportunities for investors, especially, I suppose, in the construction space. So really it's about probably people staying tuned in to the opportunities, and being a bit brave as well in the coming months, you know.
And from your own perspective, I suppose, in the engineering side of it, anything that people could avail of that has been underused in the industry, in your opinion, that people are not aware of, maybe, or that they could take advantage, might be the wrong word, might be getting in trouble for saying that word, but you know what I mean anyway.
Well, I definitely think a lot of the, I suppose, information and online resources that are there for engineers and architects and I suppose people in the construction industry have been underutilized. You know, I know, for example, like the land registry system was digitized a couple of years ago, and we do a lot of work where we would do digital submissions for solicitors and for conveyance. And I do think a lot of those, I suppose, opportunities are there. There's hope that maybe the planning applications will go online where it's not 6 paper copies and we get digital lodgements and that side of things. Yeah. So I do think there's that people need to stay in tune with emerging technology and cloud technology and I suppose data sharing, because we're living in a global world where information can be shared quickly and accurately, and I suppose it's really a matter of taking advantage of cloud resources and the likes of BIM models and smart technologies.
Yeah, it's very important, isn't it? And a business owner yourself, any financial services products that you took out over the last number of years, be it 1 year, 10 years, that you wouldn't do without, or you found very beneficial?
Well, Liam, I suppose I have to thank you for introducing us to, I suppose, and giving us great advice on the various insurances and everything else. One of the things that has come into strong focus in the recent past, I suppose, really with the COVID and everything else, is probably key staff cover. You know, I think really the last few weeks have given us all pause for thought about, you know, who's around us and who we're working with and everything else, and really that this virus can be very serious and it can seriously affect people, and then the knock-on effect is it can seriously affect businesses. So really businesses should be insulating themselves from any potential impacts, both I suppose external and internal, you know.
Yeah, and it's something that's totally, I think, before the virus, it was never said, and now the vast majority of the interview you say people are, oh my God, they're nearly realization of these things, you know. So it's perspectives have totally changed. A question we ask everybody, Dave, the best, and the last person we did it with had 2 bits of advice, but the best bit of advice that you ever got?
I suppose it's a quote, and I'm not sure who the quote is from, but it was said to me when I was in probably secondary school in Doon. It's shoot for the moon. Even if you miss it, you will land among the stars. That's always kind of stood to me. It's kind of stood out really as, you know, if you're ambitious, you'll achieve. If you're not ambitious, you won't. And we don't always, I suppose, achieve our ambitions, but I think striving to achieve the ambitions and challenging yourself means that you will, I suppose, improve and you will be interested. I know one of the things that I do love doing, I suppose, personally and on a business level, is taking on challenges and interesting projects, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely true. You only went to without a shadow of a doubt. And you're obviously, as I said previously, you were kind of ahead of the curve in relation to the online element and doing things by Zoom and Microsoft Teams, etc. like that. But you do consultations with people, be it initial consultations or ongoing consultations via Zoom and things like that. It's very easy for people to contact you, and that system, it does work, doesn't it, Dave?
It does indeed. Like, I suppose we would have had some video conferencing, I suppose, previously prior to the COVID, but we use Google Meet primarily just because we're using that suite of software. But we have been, I suppose, we've been kind of developing that in the last couple of weeks, and most of our clients now will engage with them over an online meeting, and it's got great advantages, especially for us to be able to present our information, we'll say, with screen sharing and everything else. And we're in the process, I suppose, of setting up time slots to allow, I suppose, new customers to come in and book maybe half an hour slots to just speak with the team and get some initial engineering advice on projects that they may be of interest, you know.
You have a wide range of expertise in various within the business sector within your company. What categories of professions do you have there overall?
Yeah, we've kind of a variety of backgrounds. My own background is civil engineering, and I've done a lot of, I suppose, advice for property development over the years, and liquidations, receiverships as well during the darker times. Bill Hutch, my partner, I suppose, originally would have been mechanical engineering qualification and did a lot of structures then. And Killian and Dylan then are qualified in structural and civil engineering respectively. So I suppose we cover a wide range of disciplines across the practice, primarily civil and structural, but we also then do a lot of fire engineering. So we do smoke modeling and advice for fire certs and that kind of thing as well, you know. So really it's the majority of our projects are kind of green field through to final product. So really to take a project, take ownership of it, I suppose, really, and develop it in I suppose, hand in hand with our clients, you know.
Make life easy for the client is the objective nearly, isn't it?
That's the main thing, yeah.
Dave, thanks very much for taking the time out. I'm delighted this was done by Zoom because I played a lot of five-side soccer against you and I got a good few kicks in the shin, so the Zoom has its advantages anyway.
I think that went both ways, Liam, now, to be fair.
So Dave, thanks very much. Continued success.
Thanks good to talk to you.
I know you're busy. And thanks to everybody who listened in and watched, and stay safe.